Are you one of the best places to work in sports? You have a couple of weeks to nominate your company as submissions close on April 25th. We have hundreds of nominations so far, and this is a great opportunity to shine a light on your organizations. You can nominate on our website. If you have any questions, let me know. Submissions end April 25th. And this is your morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, April 9th. Good morning. I'm Abe Madcore. I sat down with Charlotte Hornets co-owner Rick Schnall for a fireside chat in Uptown Charlotte on Tuesday. Now, Schnall purchased the team in 2023 with his partner, Gabe Plotkin, and the duo have maintained a low public profile. But local sources tell me they've been making the right connections while fully leaning into turning around the Hornets, and it is a turnaround. I've done a lot of interviews of owners over the years, but I credit Schnall for hitting all the right notes yesterday, as despite the team's poor on-court performance again this season, he stressed patience, he stressed people, culture, community, investment, and infrastructure. He showed his disdain for losing, but also his competitive zeal. He loves basketball. He still plays frequently at 55 years old. He encouraged those in the audience to join a journey that he believes will be rewarding over time. He wasn't shy, but he was sincere in asking for people's support. He is bullish on Charlotte. This team, yes, they have to make all the right moves, but they do have draft capital coming up, and if they could ever finally make the playoffs after a 10-year drought, this basketball healthy market could really embrace the Hornets. What was also of note, he said he and his fellow investors have definite plans to bring the WNBA back to Charlotte, but it may take up to a decade. He went on to say that, quote, everybody wants a WNBA team. It's gone from nobody wanting a WNBA team to everybody wanting one, end quote. He noted Charlotte did have a W franchise from 1997 to 2006, and that he wants to see the business model of WNBA teams develop and mature, and they want to do it the right way. Overall, call me impressed by the local owner of Charlotte's NBA team. On Sunday in Washington, D.C., the city was just on fire celebrating Alex Ovechkin, who of course set the NHL record for the most goals, breaking the record of the great Gretzky. I was in Washington, D.C. that day, and everywhere I turned, people were talking about him, celebrating him, showing scenes from bars and restaurants of people saluting Ovechkin. He really has such a hold on that market. So it should come as no surprise that Ovi set the record for the most merchandise sales revenue by an NHL player in a single day on the network of e-commerce sites overseen by Fanatics. Ovechkin was the top-selling athlete across all sports on Fanatics sites on Sunday, and the Capitals were the top-selling team. And since Sunday, 7 of the 10 top-selling items on Fanatics sites have been Ovechkin related. So let's just say Ovi is very good for business. Let's put a bow on the NCAA men's basketball tournament. SBJ's Austin Karp has the numbers, and the tournament ended a strong run as CBS drew 18.1 million viewers for Florida's win over Houston on Monday. This was the title game's best figure since 2019. That was Virginia, Texas Tech. Monday's number is up 22% from last year's UConn-Purdue game, and that was on TBS and TNT. And overall, having the best seeds in the mix was good for viewership, as the 3 games in the Final Four weekend averaged 16.4 million viewers on CBS, the best figure in 8 years, and up 21% from last year. The overall men's tournament, the whole month, up 3% from last year. So anytime you have an increase year over year, That is a very good story in today's sports environment. And while I don't have the final numbers yet for the entire women's tournament, we noted on the Buzzcast that while the ratings for the women's final on Sunday were down pretty significantly from last year, the numbers still marked the third best audience for the women's title game on record. So again, I think despite all the talk that the sky is falling around college basketball, these were strong, healthy numbers for this year's college basketball editions of the men's and women's tournaments. We go from the men's Final Four to the NCAA Frozen Four. That's in St. Louis this weekend. A lot of interesting connections, as my alma mater, the University of Vermont, is the event co-host, which is being held in St. Louis and led by my good friend Chris Zimmerman of the St. Louis Blues and Vermont Athletic Director Jeff Schulman. They put together a great plan around the event. St. Louis will be happening this weekend. Frozen Four games Thursday and Saturday. Sunday in downtown St. Louis, you have home games for the Cardinals, St. Louis City SC, and the UFL St. Louis Battlehawks. A big weekend for college hockey, a big sports weekend in St. Louis. Also, ESPN's John Buccigross, who is calling the men's Frozen Four, is a guest on SBJ's Sports Media Podcast this week. Let's move on. Utah Jazz and Utah Hockey Club owner Ryan Smith is someone everybody is watching and talking about. He's got his hands in a lot of projects and initiatives, and now he is partnered with Accel's Ryan Sweeney, and the two are launching Halo Experience Company. So why is this important? Well, this is an investment firm specializing in tech startups operating within sports and entertainment, and Halo is raising up to $1 billion with this goal of supporting around 24 companies through each round of their growth, and $1 billion can go a long way. Now, Ryan Sweeney is also an investor in the Jazz and Utah Hockey Club. He believes sports often gets overlooked as a major industry vertical. He likens it to healthcare and education. He says sports has become such a big market with trillions of dollars spent, and it touches every facet of the economy, which I totally agree with him on. The money being invested today in sports is enormous, and Halo said it will use Ryan Smith's sports teams, the Jazz, Utah Hockey Club, Real Salt Lake, the Utah Royals, and more, as a testing ground for all of the investment portfolio companies. They can vet the products, they can try new products. And the bottom line is a $1 billion investment firm looking to grow sports-related tech startups. That shows the interest and the attention paid to the sports and consumer economy. And we'll end with this. A lot of my conversations this week have been about the importance of smart and strategic communications. And more teams and leagues and sports entities are bringing in seasoned communication professionals from even outside of sports. Recently, we saw Monumental Sports and Entertainment bring in A.J. Jones as Executive Vice President and Chief Strategic and Corporate Communications Officer. Where did he come from? He came from Starbucks, and he will report directly to Ted Leonsis, and that shows the importance of communications when it reports directly to ownership. Now, the NFLPA has hired longtime Washington executive Liz Allen as its new Chief External Affairs Officer. She will take the role that was left by George Atala's departure in January. So she'll oversee communications and public affairs strategy for the NFL Players Union. That's a 2,200 large membership union. She will report directly to Executive Director Lloyd Howell. She comes from where? politics. She served in the Biden administration. She served in the Obama administration. She was a partner at the global communications firm FSG Global, which is really well known for crisis communications and big picture thinking. And so for the NFLPA to bring on someone like Liz Allen shows the importance of external communications, especially as owners will push for an 18-game regular season schedule, and that will result in a number of very public and high-profile and tense negotiations and narratives. So Liz Allen will play a key role in that public strategy. She touted that she is an NFL diehard fan and that she is a proud and dedicated member of Bills Mafia. So Liz Allen joining the NFLPA as its new Chief External Affairs Officer starting immediately. And so that is your morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, April 9th. I'm Abe Madcore. My colleagues will bring you the Buzzcast Thursday and Friday. I'll return next week. Until then, stay healthy, be good to each other. I'll speak to you down the road.